Alright, back to it. Let's get started. The second Doctor was Patrick Troughton, who took over William Hartnell's role in 1966 and was met with the type of fan backlash you'd expect from the modern era. But it didn't take long for good old Pat to set the ground rules as to how future Doctor regenerations go for the remainder of the series. He had 3 seasons, much like his predecessor, and with 21 stories to his name. He would then regenerate into Jon Pertwee in 1969, ending the black and white era. We did go over this last time, but in case you're new, these stories will be ranked from 1 to 10 and with a 10-word comment. I will list the current companions, if there are any episodes missing from the archives, and how many parts each episode is. And if any of that sounds confusing, you can head over to my first Doctor video where I explain how Classic Who works and how it differs from the modern 1-hour-long New Who. And that's all the setup I want to do. Let's just jump right in for every second Doctor story reviewed in 10 words or less.
Oh my giddy aunt.
BBC's massive gamble, rewarded with vital episode for the series. Jamie's debut, Master of Disguise Doctor, and many, many kilts. Atlantis, mad scientists, and one of the less convincing costumes. Legions of Cybermen defeated by Polly's chemistry test. Giant crabs! But actually an enjoyable, cheesy utopia tale. Chameleon body snatchers on an airport. Creepy and very good. If this were the Daleks' final appearance, I'd be satisfied.
Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
Never would have thought to combine Cybermen with themes of Egypt. A lot more atmospheric and holy than I expected going in. Great ideas. But would have worked better as a 4-parter. Part spy thriller, part political deception, no aliens to be found. Yeti return, claustrophobic and creepy. Even the army gets involved. Not bad considering the monster's a pile of foamy weeds. Zoe is precious, but God, this story drags its feet.
I'm not exactly breaking the laws of time, but I am bending.
Oh, they're adorable. This was a chore to sit through. Rapunzel? Medusa? The Void? Everything's a lie, nothing is real. This has everything. Unit, Cybermen, and a fantastic mastermind villain. It's practically Dominators again! Dull, but not as bad. New Ice Warriors make bland stories slightly more interesting. Yeah, I know guys, you're too busy filming the finale. A war epic and swan song to 60s Doctor Who. And that's everything. So now, just like last time, let's go over each of the second Doctor's companions and rate them from worst to best. Unlike the first Doctor's laundry list of companions, this time we only have 5. 4 if you count Ben and Polly as a pair, which I do. And speaking of Ben and Polly, purely due to a lack of choices, here they are at the bottom of the list. Ben and Polly are just as great as they were with the first Doctor, but this time there are far less companions to choose from, and all of them were pretty fantastic. So sadly, these two couldn't compete with the likes of future companions. Many times, Ben and or Polly were capture fodder, or the ones with the least amount to do. When the TARDIS team was buffed to 4 members, poor Ben found his male companion position compromised. But all that being said, everything I said about them last time is true. They're still confident, hard-headed companions that were still sad to see go at the end of Troughton's first season. Number 3 is Victoria Waterfield. Definitely the biggest surprise for me. Your first instinct is to feel sorry for poor Victoria. She's completely out of her element from the time period she's from. She's a dainty, well-mannered princess, often found wearing large, extravagant dresses. And the circumstances in which she came aboard the TARDIS were downright horrible. She gets captured and tortured by Daleks. Her father is killed and she's left with nowhere to go other than this strange time machine. So you'd think you have this character understood, but no, there's actually a whole lot more going on. This girl's curiosity is an unstoppable force that cannot be tamed. I distinctly remember in Abominable Snowman, she was told this room is strictly forbidden, and she really had no reason to want to get in there. The room was hardly important to her at the time, but by God is she going to find out and sneak past and even fool every guard she comes across. Of course, as soon as she made it into the room, she was instantly captured, and there we get to the main problem of Victoria. Despite how well she tried to fight the tropes, she was a damsel in distress at least once a story. So a very solid companion, if not a tragic one, but an unfortunate target to princess tropes. Number 2 is Zoe Harriet. Gotta be honest, I really wasn't a fan of her at first. Her whole thing is that she's extremely intelligent in areas of math, computers, and numbers, things even the Doctor struggled with. But once she joined the TARDIS crew, I wasn't sure she was working well with the others. Her intelligence clashed with the Doctor's, and her being from the distant future made it tough for her to relate much to the companion from the distant past. But this was all at first. I found that the more adventures she got to go on, the more I warmed up to her, and the more the other members did too. And she's adorable. Alright, let's just get that out of the way. There's a scene where she has so much fun outwitting an old computer model, well, old model by her standards, and she literally just can't stop laughing at it. Like, that's great. But she can also be very efficient. She dares a full room of scientists that she can find a better result than them in 30 seconds, so they let her, and she does! That's awesome. It's refreshing after the Victorian princess to have a companion who understands her surroundings so well. And while I didn't appreciate her spouting math facts out of the blue at first, I found it endearing after a while. She's a walking computer with a fun personality and a sparkling one-piece jumpsuit for some reason. I think this makes up the ultimate second Doctor team. The Doctor, Zoe, and let's just get started with you-know-who, the one, the only, Jamie McClement. Yeah, there was absolutely no contest. You'll notice that once he joined Patrick Troughton in his second episode, he stayed for his entire run up till his last episode. Jamie is linked to this Doctor and this era. He became such a staple that he was the second Doctor's right hand many a time. And what a bizarre companion to have such a distinction. He's a Scottish Highlander, ripped straight from the past, and yet despite how much he doesn't understand, he picks up on the important bits and figures out the right thing to do on most occasions. But he also takes a lot of initiative upon himself. If he really doesn't understand what's going on or why we're all waiting here when there's work to be done, he'll be off to do whatever heroic thing he's trying to do next. Despite being the closest person to this incarnation of the Doctor, they also get into many arguments and conflicting opinions. Sometimes the Doctor can't save someone right away, and that really gets up Jamie's ire, especially when it's Victoria, who he had a massive crush on. And I love that. It wasn't a yes doctor, right doctor, what is that doctor kind of relationship. It was much deeper than that. And of course, Jamie was a Scotsman and proud. Kilt and everything, which was always entertaining. And you can tell just by watching that Patrick Troughton and Fraser Hines were friends offset too. They constantly did improv jokes together, little comedy bits and skits, working off each other so well. I think these two worked just as hard as the writers did about how these characters interacted. It's well documented too that they do these jokes knowing that the BBC couldn't afford more than one take in most instances, so they'd have to leave in all their humor. Fraser knew Pat so well that to this day he voices the second Doctor in almost all audio appearances and does a pretty stellar job. So yeah, Jamie McCrimmon, #1 spot. It was obvious to everybody, and that is a wrap on the second Doctor era. And boy, I cannot wait to get started on the third. All 5 seasons of him. Oh boy.